Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be me recreating my 40th birthday makeup and telling you all about our amazing evening at Cirque du Soleil. I was able to pack really lightly without actually knowing where I was going or what I was going to be doing, and only taking this as far as my makeup brushes, this little quartet of brushes in this Charlotte Tilbury set, and only a few sort of makeup products that I was able to use in my hotel room with, you know, a small mirror, not much lighting, and get a makeup look that I was really happy with. So I thought I would share that with you today, as well as a little bit of a story time on my 40th. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start off with brows, and I used my Rare Beauty brow gel. Definitely my favorite brow gel, like classic standard normal brow gel that I've ever used. Actually keeps my brows in place, frozen where they are, and these are tricky brows, okay? My brows are very like curly and coarse, and they don't really like being told what to do. So most brow gels I've found previously without my brows being laminated just do nothing. Now that my brows, I mean, these are like, I don't know, it's been a good 8-9 maybe weeks since I had them laminated, so it's pretty much all gone now. And still this brow gel can keep them in place, which is very unusual. So as you guys most likely know, if you're not new here, I turned 40 last week. I finally made it. I've been looking forward to this for months and months, and it finally happened. I am now in the 40 club. I'm loving it. I'm super excited about my 40s. And we had the time of our lives last week. I mean, it's been a good few weeks of celebration. I will say it sort of started off probably about 2 weeks ago, and we're pretty much still going. But the sort of main celebrations with my family happened last week. Initially, my husband started asking me about like what I would like to do and his thoughts, telling me what his ideas for my 40th about a year ago. The man was planning, he was on it, he was organized, and it paid off, I have to say. His initial like thoughts, ideas, plans were that he wanted to take me either to New York and do like a Broadway show and like shopping and really nice dinners over like a few days, or the other idea he came up with was Vegas to see Adele. I really love Adele. I've been seeing all the videos of her show in Vegas. I've never seen her live, and that was kind of his two options. So he sort of ran them by me. What do you think? Which of these two options would you like to do? Either of them? But I basically quickly realised, I think initially I thought, oh, how exciting. All of this sounds really exciting. But then I started thinking about it and digesting the idea, and I realised I just didn't want to leave my children for like 2 or 3 days and leave the country without them. I just realised very quickly the anxiety I was having at the thought of it. It was just not making me happy. And I sort of quite quickly realised I just wasn't going to have fun. I wasn't going to be able to enjoy it. I was going to miss them too much. I didn't want to leave them. I have never left my children overnight before my birthday. I'd never left them overnight. My daughter has done a sleepover recently, her first ever sleepover. She's going to be 10 very soon. And that is the first time I'd spent, you know, more than like a few hours away from my children when they were awake. You know, I've been out for dinner with my husband while they are in bed asleep, but I've never been away from my son, like more than just when he's at school, and I just could not. I just knew I would be too anxious, too stressed. I wouldn't enjoy it. I'd miss them too much if I went away for like 2 or 3 days. So I vetoed his plans. I just want to be clear here. I'm not judging anyone who enjoys nights away or trips away or holidays away from their children. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not for me. I know we're all very different. My husband has been on many work trips and he has been away from my children for like when he went to the Olympics, you know, he would always be, you know, gone for like a week, 2 weeks while he was working. So it's not like, I don't think you're a bad parent, by the way, if you have just different vibes. In fact, you're probably far more normal. I think I'm the weirdo here, okay? I understand it's not that common to have never left your children overnight. You know, at 7 and 9 years old, we've never had a night away from the children. And I know that's quite unusual. Most of the people that I know have done. I just don't want to. I just don't want to. I didn't want to leave them. I know I'm a weirdo, but that was how I felt. So I just felt if they couldn't come with us, which they couldn't because of school and everything else, I wanted and would have preferred to stay in this country, and maybe we sort of negotiated that I would be willing to have one night, like a night away within the English country. By the way, I used my Tom Ford primer. Sorry if I missed that. Obviously, I will list everything down below that I used in case I digress again. Haus Labs primer, just to take away some of this redness on my eyeballs. And I'm using the like little base / foundation brush out of the Charlotte Tilbury brush set, just to blend that a little. So once we had sort of agreed that we weren't going to leave the country and we were only doing like one night away, then it was just up to my husband to arrange. I kept everything a surprise. He kept asking me, when do you want to know what we're doing? Like the week before, like when we're on our way, that morning, when? And I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But in the weeks leading up, I had to ask my husband questions because I was having to like pack and choose, you know, what outfit I was going to wear, what to pack, you know, what kind of event are we going to, what are we doing, you know, do I need, what kind of makeup do I want to wear, what kind of outfit, what shoes, how much walking is there going to be. I'm just setting that concealer with my Pat McGrath powder, by the way, and the sort of fluffy brush from that Charlotte Tilbury brush set. So I started asking him all these questions and he was like, still like, do you just want me to tell you? But I didn't want to know. I wanted the surprise. I didn't want to be told. I really wanted everything to be a surprise. So the week before, he gave me a bit of like an itinerary without telling me any of the specifics or the locations. So for my eyeshadow, I used 2 of the Lisa Eldridge liquid shadows in the shades Emily and Cressida. So Emily is slightly darker and Cressida is slightly lighter, and I used these to make like a bit of a sort of a look, a bit of dimension, with Emily going on the outer sort of 2/3 of the eye, and I just sort of whacked it on like so. Probably should do both eyes. That would be advisable, I would suggest. You know, nothing too specific, nothing too neat, whack it on. And then take the lighter shade, Cressida, and again, whack it on, just enjoy yourself, go nuts at the front, like so. Again, you can see I made an utter mess, nothing specific, nothing precise. And then I'm going to take that same fluffy brush and just sort of blend these two together, blend up into the crease. These shadows are so easy to work with, and you have a little bit of time before they dry down and set to, you know, tap them in. You could do this without like even using a brush, just literally pat a little, smudge a little with a finger, and you're good to go. We'll come back to the eyes a little later and just kind of finesse them a bit, but that was pretty much what I did. So quick and easy, so pretty, very minimal product needed. So he gave me an itinerary. He basically gave me the timings. He said, we're getting on a train and we're going to London about mid-morning. We're then going to get in a taxi from the train station and go to our hotel where we will have time to get ready. This was the important information that I needed. I didn't have to do like my hair and makeup and wear my evening outfit, you know, on the train, which I'm not a big fan of. I just feel a little, I don't know, odd sitting on a Great Western train in full glam, you know. I don't know about you, but that is embarrassing for me. Like the time we went to one of the Queen's garden parties, that was the most embarrassing day of my life because I was sat on the train with like a fascinator. Okay, so I got to go nice and comfy and casual to our hotel and get ready and dressed and do my makeup, and I had loads of time. I had 2 whole hours to get ready, which was a treat. And then he told me that we'd be going for a really nice dinner and then a show, essentially. So that was what I had to plan an outfit for and makeup and all of that for. So, you know, the restaurant part is pretty easy because I knew it'd be a really nice restaurant, you know, that's easy. You wear, you know, nice dress or whatever you want to wear, nice makeup, but I didn't know what the show would be, and I just don't know. You know, some people dress up for the theatre and for shows and things like that, and some people don't, and some of them are quite formal and some aren't, you know, so that was a little tricky, but I wanted to be dressed up, so I just went for it, and who really cares what anyone thinks? We're never going to see any of these people again. Hourglass foundation. I was very close to taking my Louboutin foundation. I just felt like it's just not fully tried and tested at this time. It's still very new. And this was, you know, an event where I really wanted to look and feel my best at all times. I wanted to take, you know, photos with my husband, flash photos, in the dark photos, in restaurant light photos. And I know I can rely on this one under all of these conditions. I know it's going to wear well. I know it's not going to let me down. I know it's going to photograph nicely. So I went with the Hourglass, but yeah, I was considering for a little while the Louboutin, but yeah, it didn't quite make it into the cut, but it's pushing this one, I think, for like my event evening foundation because I'm really loving it. It looks absolutely beautiful. I just felt like it was just too early days to make such a risky decision with that one. So we got to the hotel, I got ready, did my makeup, got dressed. And at this point, I was getting a bit worried that someone was like going to let slip what we were doing before my husband did, because the hotel person knew where we were going because my husband had booked the taxi through him. And I thought at check-in he was going to say, oh, so you're going here tonight. And yeah, so that I was nervous, and I was nervous that the driver was going to say something. And it was just, I wanted my husband to tell me, like, you know, what the surprise was, where we were going. So when we were sort of getting ready to go down to the hotel bar, I said, okay, I need you to tell me now because I don't want the surprise to be ruined or told by somebody else. I want to hear it from you. So he told me then, okay, we are going to the Royal Albert Hall to see Cirque du Soleil. And I was so excited. Like as soon as we started planning this trip, I didn't know that's what we were going to be doing, but I hoped, you know, I have always wanted to see Cirque du Soleil my whole life. And I've always avoided seeing anything about it, like watching videos. It's been all over social media recently because the show that we were going to see was premiering in London at the Royal Albert Hall, and so I'd seen lots of like clips and social media like coverage of it. I avoided watching any of it, not because I thought I'd be going, but I've just never wanted to see any. I want to go one day. I want to see it. I don't want to know what's going to happen. I don't want to expect anything. I literally just wanted to never see the show or any of the shows until I was in the audience, you know? So when he told me that's where we were going, I was beside myself. And then he said that he had basically booked us to be in a box, which is another one of like my all-time sort of bucket list things that I've wanted to do. Whenever we go to the theatre, I always think, would I like to sit in the box? Because typically I just don't book far enough in advance for that, you know, to go into a box. You have to, there's only so many of them, and typically when we go to the theatre, we go to smaller theatres. There's only a couple of boxes. Sometimes actually the view from the boxes is not the best. So it's just, we've just never done it before. But that was, oh, I was now beside myself with excitement, because this is all stuff I've always wanted to do, like life dreams, bucket list things. I was so excited. Charlotte Tilbury contour wand in the lighter shade. So for dinner, we were going to Koda, which is the restaurant, the fine dining restaurant within the Royal Albert Hall, and it is Eric Chauveau Michelin star chef's restaurant. It was unbelievable. I just love that, like everything about that restaurant was just amazing. It's so beautiful inside. It's quite small. I think it was 90 covers. You can only eat there if you have a ticket for the show. By the way, I realise what's happening here, but don't worry, it's all going to be fine. It's very intimate, and what happens is you have your starter and your main course, then you go and watch the first half of the show, and in the interval you go back for dessert, and it is just such a luxurious, amazing experience. It was absolutely stunning. The best steak I've ever eaten in my life. And I feel like I said to my husband, I've had those, you know, steaks where I've been to some of the best steak restaurants that we have in this country, and I've done that, you know, oh, it's like butter, you know, cuts like butter. I've had those steaks before. We went to a stunning steak restaurant on our honeymoon in Mauritius that was unbelievable. I've had good steak before. This was like another level of good steak. Like I said to my brother-in-law, who is a very talented chef, has worked in Michelin star restaurants himself, and I was explaining this steak to him, and I was like, I wasn't even chewing it, I was just like biting it. Do you know what I mean? And it was not only unbelievably tender and stunning, but the flavors, everything was absolutely unreal. You know, we walked in and it's like, here's a glass of free champagne, here's some glorious bread like you've never tasted in your life. It was just, you know, nothing was too much. Service was perfect. It was attentive without being intrusive or too much. It was really slow. We got to dinner at 5:30, and the table is yours for the entire evening. You know, you leave your table and it's there waiting for you. In the interval, you come back to your same table. You know, they're not trying to do multiple sittings. It is just a wonderful, relaxed, you know, we were there for like a couple of hours, you know, slowly enjoying the experience. And then my husband had pre-ordered us a drink before the show. So we, you know, left after our main course and we went to the bar to pick up our drinks. Something odd happened here, okay? We went up to the bar and I wasn't really paying attention because my husband was just, you know, giving his name and saying, this is my order. He turned to me. So I had ordered a glass of wine and my husband had ordered a beer. And he turned to me and he said, how many glasses? Like the lady behind the bar had said, how many glasses? And he turned to me and said, how many glasses? And I was so confused because I was like, well, one glass? And he looked at me like this. He did this. And I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something was afoot, you know. I knew that look meant shh, you know. You just know when it's your husband giving you an eye that you know what it means, don't you? So then she hands him a bottle of wine and like two of the plastic cups that you're allowed, you know, in the theatre. And so I like walked away and I was like, oh, did you accidentally order a bottle? And he was like, I don't think so. I think they've just accidentally given us a bottle. And so then, you know, we ran away. And so, you know, we quickly exited and went to find our box. And we sort of stood outside enjoying a glass of wine, a free bottle of wine for, you know, I mean, I guess it was my birthday. I want to say, I don't intentionally steal things most of the time, but we didn't really know what was happening. We just went with it. We thought initially that we had paid for a bottle by accident, and then it wasn't really till we checked our receipt, and I'm not being funny, we weren't going to take it back. I know some people would have done, but it was my birthday and it just felt like a gift from the Royal Albert Hall, you know? Please don't ban me for life. I'd like to go back one day. So that seemed like, you know, a happy little bonus that happened. Setting powder under my eyes, and I'm still using this brush, and I know what you're thinking, Charlotte, you've just blended your eyeshadow with that brush, what are you doing? And I understand you, but I just literally wiped it off on my tissue and it was absolutely fine. So we ran away with our stolen bottle of wine to outside where our box was, and there was a couple waiting to go into their box as well, because they have, you know, a lot, like they have like a whole floor of like boxes at the Royal Albert Hall. It is so ginormous, that place. It is, I've never been to the Royal Albert Hall before for an event, and it was stunning. That entire building is absolutely beautiful, so stunning. It's so huge. It's the perfect venue for Cirque du Soleil because it really does the show justice. You know, the show is so huge and visual and magical that building it's just the perfect building for it. So now I'm going to be using the Pat McGrath Nirvana in Bloom cheek palette from Holiday, and I've got the only other brush that I took other than that Charlotte Tilbury set, which is Sonia G's Niji like mini bronzer brush. I just really felt like I needed a bronzer brush. Everything else is kind of in that set, but I didn't have the type of bronzer brush that I like to use. And this is also really good for buffing as well, which I wanted to have that option. So yeah, there are a lot of like boxes all in this one section of the Royal Albert Hall, and there was this couple next to us that we got chatting to, and the woman was celebrating her 60th. So obviously it was my 40th and it was her 60th, and so I was like, congratulations. So I offered them a glass of my free wine, and they had a glass of wine with us, and it was just lovely little like chatting to them, really, really nice. And then it was time for the show to start, and oh my God, it was unbelievable. So much better. Like, I've always wanted to see this. I knew it would be amazing, yet somehow it was like so much better than I thought it was going to be. So much better. I had amazing expectations, but it was unreal. What was really surprising to me that I didn't know was the singing, and also the band, the musicians. I had no idea that there was singing in Cirque du Soleil. Like I said, I've always avoided from seeing anything that would sort of, you know, spoil the surprises. I used the bronzer out of here again on that little brush and just ran that up into my crease to bring this all together. So yeah, I wasn't expecting. The singers were unbelievable. Like, I instantly was in tears. That opening number, which has like the acro bars and the most beautiful song sung by the most stunning, like probably, I said to my husband, these are maybe the most stunning live vocals I've actually ever heard. They were unbelievable, the singers and all of the musicians. And you know, that is a big part of the show. They are sort of walking around, they're on the stage. A lot of the time the singers really part of the acts, and the music and the song really a big part of Allegria, the show. It's just, I don't know if every Cirque du Soleil show is like that, but it blew me away, and I was instantly just so emotional. Everything was just so beautiful. And you know, we got to the interval and I was like, oh no, is that the interval already? And you know, it's not a short show, it's a long show, but it just felt like it went so fast. I was absolutely agog the entire time. Everything was stunning, magical, beautiful, like frightening in places, unbelievably impressive. I loved it all. Every single second of it was just a dream. So I used this diddy little number to just run a bit of bronzer under the lower lash line. I didn't put, thank goodness, I didn't put mascara on my lower lash line because I thought I might cry. I wasn't really sure, like I said, that where we were going and whether I would cry, but I cry at anything. you know, any sad film, any slightly emotional story, emotional moment, and I'm bawling like a newborn baby. So I thought it was best to avoid Lower Lash Mascara, and I wasn't wrong. And then for like blush slash highlight in a oneer, I just basically did a bit of a dab in both of these. This is like in theory a highlight, but it's a little deep for me and my winter skin tone. So I just kind of mixed the two together and it was just perfect. So pretty, gorgeous glow to the cheeks. Really rosy, lovely gloriousness. Photographed so prettily, this highlight did. It was really, really pretty. So yeah, after the show, we managed to get a taxi like straight outside, black cab, straight outside, which is perfect. Back to our hotel. We had a couple of rum and cokes in the hotel bar, and then we went upstairs and we watched Love Island on catch up, and we were in bed by like 11. I was living the dream. That's the dream, like 40-year-old night out, isn't it? You have the like night of your life, but you're still in bed like by 11. It didn't get better than that for me. Then I just used my Sonia G brush as a buffing brush to buff everything together. Oh, and I have to tell you, I woke up in the morning. I woke up, like, it took me so long to get to sleep. I was just watching all of my videos and looking at all of my photos from the night before. And I woke up not with a hangover as such. I had a lot of champagne. My husband bought a bottle of champagne for the hotel while I was getting ready, which I drank most of because my husband just doesn't really drink. And then we had, you know, champagne at dinner. We had the accidental free bottle of wine, and then several rum and cokes in between. But, you know, although it was like a fair amount of alcohol, it was spread out, you know, across a long evening with a lot of food featured as well. So I felt fine when I woke up, just slightly fuzzy headed. And then I had to take my tablets, and I saw the glass of water on my nightstand, and I thought, oh, I better make sure that isn't like leftover champagne from yesterday. So I smelt it. It was very, very clear. I smelt it. It smelt like nothing. I took my tablets with a big old gulp of it, only to discover, no, it was yesterday's now very, very flat champagne. Why did that have to happen? It was, I don't recommend doing that, okay? If I had been like a hair more hungover, that could have been the end for me, okay? At like 8 in the morning, a big old swig of champagne the morning after the night before. Not great. So my top tip, if you have a bottle of champagne in your hotel room that you don't finish fully, throw those glasses away, okay? Thank me later. For lipstick, I went with one of my YSL Candy Glazes. This is shade 15. It's just the perfect, luscious, juicy, but comfortable, wearable lip that wears actually really, really well when you're eating and drinking. And of course, I finished with a good old splash of Charlotte Tilbury's Flawless Setting Spray. The perfect travel size. I keep this one. I do have a full size one, but I will refill this one to take with me everywhere because it's just the perfect size and it fits so nicely in quite a small makeup bag. And this was the finished makeup look for the main evening of my 40th birthday. And I will say I pretty much did a pared down like version of this the next morning because we had a really nice breakfast in our really nice hotel, and I wanted to do a little bit of something makeup wise, but not this whole thing. So all I did in the morning, I just used the lighter shadows and didn't bother with Emily. I just used a bit of Cressida, and then I swapped my Hourglass foundation for their skin tint and did basically everything else the exact same for the next day. And it was just a pared down version of this. So again, I was able to, you know, not need to take any more products really, and have a perfectly wearable big night out and like low-key pared back breakfast makeup look. Okay, so there you have it. That is my 40th birthday makeup look and story time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.